Hello, I am Mindy from the offgridbarefootgirl.com blog. If you follow me over there, I am today going to be starting a medicinal tea tray, and I got this tray from Soulkit, and I will link it below. I have a pack of 10, and I'm going to be growing a medicinal teas plants in this tray right here, so I can have indoor tea garden in my kitchen. I have a lot of these plants outside already, like the rosemary, especially lavender, and I have a bunch of chamomile outside, but they're not I'm not able to harvest them year round. I can harvest rosemary year round, but I would like to see about growing it indoors as well. I'm going to grow purple basil and English thyme and Italian oregano, English lavender, and in my garden I have 2 giant bushes of phenomenal lavender, and then I have rosemary and a big rosemary bush outside. I can take clippings from all winter long, but I would like to see about growing indoor rosemary. These two tend to get big, so if they do get pretty big in my indoor kitchen, I could just plant them right out into the garden and start over with smaller plants. And so when I get started, I will be planting and adding chamomile seeds in here too. I just don't have them with me, but I'm going to go ahead and fill my tray with some potting soil. And make a mess at the same time as I do this. It's fine. I think I do want a pretty thick layer because they're going to be living in this tray for a while. I'm just going to give the rest of that in there. Okay, so let's smooth it out. I think I'm going to start with thyme. And make, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I don't have 6 with me, but I'm counting chamomile in my head. I'm going to do rows of each. And since I have 6 of them, which is quite a bit in this tray, I'm going to go the long way. I can't explain it. Like, I'll split it down the middle, and then I'll use the long way so I can get more varieties rather than this way. That's what I'm trying to say. So I've got to make 6 lines for 6 varieties of my tea tray. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one should I could put right here? 6. Okay, so I have my rows plowed. And yeah, I said I was going to start with thyme, so here we are. And these are back to the roots heirloom seeds. I bought this in a big pack, like 30 pack. All of these are from the same, so I'm gonna leave that on there. I don't want to take off the label of where I got it, because obviously I'm not going to be planting all of these seeds. Whoopsie. Thyme seeds are so tiny. I'm gonna put, I'm not gonna label each row, or should I? I do know how to identify herbs when they're big, but obviously they all look the same when they sprout. But when I am using and harvesting them, obviously I'm gonna know what is what. However, it's good to know what is what even when you're growing them, just in case they have like issues and you're like, well, I don't know what that is, so I don't know how to look it up and see what I need to do. But I don't know, we'll see. I always say that, we'll see. I'm going to close it so I don't spill my seeds. And right next to it, I'm gonna do this red Reuben purple, even though it has the word red in it. It looks purple to me. Basil. Basil seeds are pretty big, much bigger. So, at least in my experience, it's a tad bit bigger. Yeah, they're easier to manage than tiny little basil seeds or thyme seeds. You know, I might label, so I'm gonna put my packets in order that I have my rows. Maybe I will label. I don't know. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just doing each row with just a light dusting of seeds. I've never grown a medicinal tea tray before, and so I'm giving this as a little experiment because I have an indoor greenhouse. I want to have little projects like this going on, so I'll set that right next to that. So I'm just making it in case I do want to, you know, label. That way I'll know what row is what if I don't pick up anything. Okay, so next to that I'll do oregano because it's kind of the same sizes. Rosemary and lavender grow taller. At least what thyme grows kind of like a tall grass. It droops out in my garden when I grow it with my rosemary, at least. Okay, so I'm on row 3. I gotta remember what rows I'm on. That's why I have my seed packets there to help me. Never mind my ink all over my hands that you see. Happens to me every time I write. I was writing blog posts earlier, making notes. And I write the old-fashioned way, and then I type it all out. That's just how I do. I'm the older generation, so. And when I do that, I make a mess with ink. I can't ever since I was a kid, or as long as I could remember, when I write, that's happened to me. And I never noticed that happened to anybody else, but it happens to me. I don't know. Only row 3. Okay, so I'll make sure I got all of these little tiny seeds in there. So that's why I was writing a blog post today, this morning. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. And now lavender. 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. I like lavender and chamomile to be side by side, but yeah, I always like growing it. So I'm just gonna do rosemary first, and then I'll do lavender right here, and then leave a space for chamomile. That way I'm not trying to remember where do I put chamomile over here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Rosemary. I've heard a lot of gardeners in my area say they have trouble growing rosemary in their garden because of our area, but it does really well for me. I was 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right here. My rosemary out in my garden right now is thriving in this mild winter that we're actually having, which is rare, but it's survived ever since I moved here, and I moved here in 2022, and I brought it with me from my last property, so it survived a move and all those years that I've lived here, and it's 2026 right now. So in my experience, rosemary is doing really good in my backyard orchard. Okay, so I don't have very many left. I could plant this whole packet. Nah, I'm gonna put those back. I'll use them for something else. Okay, so now I can do lavender, and then I will leave this last row for my chamomile. I don't have the seed packet, but I will save room for it because chamomile is definitely on the list to be in here. One of my sons drinks chamomile tea every single night without fail. It helps him with a lot of things, especially sleep and rest, and his anxiety. He's a 17-year-old teenager, so we read recently, not recently, it was years ago, he's been drinking it for years, that Roman soldiers used to drink chamomile every night for a lot of reasons, like winding down their restless bodies after a long day or whatever Roman soldiers do. And it helped calm them. And when my son learned that, he's like, it was like inspiration to him to want to drink it too. So I'm gonna close all of those, and I'm gonna leave it just like that because I decided I'm going to label after all. And I'm gonna close and pinch these. Milo, what are you doing? Milo, what are you doing? I'm talking to my puppy because he's going around my desk area where I work. But yeah, he loves drinking chamomile tea, so I have a big pot of it outside that I grow every year. I always make sure to grow enough for him. And it helps with a lot of other things too, like upset stomachs and stuff. And he drinks it religiously. I do too. It's good. It's good stuff. Oops. I'm gonna leave that open for my chamomile. I wasn't paying attention. This is where I'm gonna plant my chamomile. I'll leave a big dent. That way I'll remember. Everybody else is snug in here. And as it grows, I'll update you to show you what it looks like. But simple as that. I'm gonna go get some labels and I'll be right back. Okay, note to self, do not leave a tray of soil and walk away when you leave it on your coffee table, because if you have cats, I came back and 2 of my cats were trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't want to know. But here, I labeled my map on here of what is what. So now I can, and I just used like all-purpose labels, multi-use labels, whatever you call it. I'm going to go put these in the mini greenhouse and give them a watering. Okay, so I'm going to put this under a grow light in my mini greenhouse carefully. And I left this row on this end so I could easily plant chamomile seeds. And so it's going to be right under a beautiful grow light that I got. Grab water and give it a mist. I'm excited to see how this project turns out. And I'll make sure the soil stays wet until everybody pops through. I love this spray bottle. Okay, I'm excited to have some tea varieties, different ones than what I have already. So there we go. Thank you for watching.